You're listening to the Para Is My Normal podcast. We are a bit science, a bit woo, and all curious about that which defies explanation because sometimes normal just isn't.
This is Jenniferlyn.
And this is Michael.
And today we decided we wanted to take a little journey back through our different investigations and talk a little bit about our favorite experiences.
Yeah, we've been to, I don't know, I've lost count of all the places that we've been to. But yeah, a lot. Man, I tell you what, Jennifer, there's been so many places that have been, well, the cat's meow. Do you want to do like a top 5?
Sure,
All right.
absolutely.
You want me to start or you want to go?
Absolutely. I want to hear what your...
Of course.
Yeah, I have to let you go first, honey. I always have you go first.
Okay. All right. Let's see. I'm going to have to say top 5, number 5 is going to have to be Emory Theater.
Hidden in Cincinnati's Over-the-Rhine district, the Emory Theatre is a 1911 jewel, once hailed for Carnegie Hall-level acoustics and a sightline-free design that seated more than 2,200 guests. Gershwin, Sousa, and Pavlova all graced its stage before the Cincinnati Symphony moved out in 1936, leaving the Grand Hall to fade into quiet legend. But the quiet never stayed silent. After midnight, flashlight tours swear that they hear unseen footsteps echoing in the balconies and a glimpse of a woman in white gliding across the boards. Encounters that have made the Emory a staple of Queen City ghost walks and late-night investigations. Today, that eerie stillness is cracking open again. The Children's Theatre of Cincinnati has launched a $43 million renovation to bring the house back to life in 2025. Yet as crews rolls in, the ghosts still await their encores, mingling with the long-dead applause hanging in the rafters. So, what makes the Emory Theatre one of our top 5 spookiest locations? Let's find out.
I just thought that, here we are. We got, I think, was that the first time I was using the plasma ball?
It may have been one of the first times we used
Because I felt that, having the plasma ball really put a lot of EMF, especially backstage, when we were getting that little girl. And when we got some really intelligent responses backstage.
We got a lot of intelligent responses at the Emory. I think we kind of sleep on. We talk a lot about seeing the shadow figures up in the top, but what we don't talk about are all...
There was something else too, Jennifer.
The EVPs we caught.
We got some good EVPs there, but this was the very first time we used the SLS.
Oh my gosh, it was.
And I could not believe all of the images that we were capturing with the SLS, just, walking down and just seeing all the images of stick figures that were just sitting in the seats waiting for a show to begin.
And what's interesting is, if you're hearing this, because again, we're very skeptical, especially of the SLS, the way it works. We know that it maps over chairs. We know it maps over hard lines, things that it can assign humanoid figure to, right? Like joints. It's always looking for connectors. So typically you do things, you do see things mapped over in chairs or around hard corners of bookshelves or things like that. In this case, though, they weren't mapped onto the chairs. No. They were mapped completely separate from the chairs. In a totally different way. It was like little kids almost.
And I thought that, here I am looking at it at a 90 degree.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm seeing basically a backwards L.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing a figure in the SLS looking backwards, like maybe like a little kid, like, how he's really excited to see a show. And they're looking backwards at everybody to see, and it wasn't really mapping of the chair. It was totally separate from the image of the chair, which I thought was very, very interesting.
It was, and it wasn't something that was all the time, and it wasn't something that if you went back to it that you didn't. It wasn't like constantly mapping the same thing, which is very interesting as well. So there we had some really interesting EVPs, really interesting shadow figures, just the vibe.
Yeah, the vibe was just please, I forgive the gentleman, but he was a very, very nice host Troy, thank you. Troy was just a wonderful host for the Emory Theater. I think it was right around that time that we're starting to experiment with not knowing about a place, and we wanted to go in there cold. But I think in this case, we wanted just to get the history of it, not only the history of the Emory Theater, but also the history of the building, which was really nice.
Oh, and that's the thing. I think it also was where we realized that we really enjoyed theaters.
Yes. Oh my
I
goodness.
mean, right? Like,
Yes.
if you know us, you know we really actually enjoy theaters. We love investigating theaters, and this was one of not the first ones, because the Baum was probably the first one we investigated, but
Yes.
it was definitely up there. And then after a while, we started to make the connection that we really connect with theaters. Theaters really connect with us. Like, we just have a great time.
Oh yeah.
So I fully agree. I would say I love the
Oh,
Emory as top 5.
Number 4 is going to have to be the Baum. You mentioned it before.
Tucked just off of First Street in downtown Miamisburg, the Baum Opera House opened its doors in 1884. Built by German immigrant entrepreneur Charles Baum, the 800-seat Star City Opera House was once billed as the largest theater between New York City and the Mississippi, later moonlighting as a bowling alley, a roller rink, a dinner theater, and even the site of Miamisburg High School's very first basketball game. Yet the curtain never truly fell. Ghost walks still detour here to swap stories of playful prankster spirits tugging at equipment and shadow figures pacing the mezzanine. Encounters investigators rank among downtown's strongest hotspots for paranormal activity. Today, volunteers are racing to raise $60,000 for new roof and stage lights to keep the Grand Ladies standing. While fundraisers climb the skull footing by day, by night, we investigate. Now let's take a peek back into our conversation and learn why the Baum Opera House ranks so high in our top 5 lists of paranormal locations.
And I think the time that we went, it was July. It was really hot. And everybody that went upstairs, they just couldn't take the heat up there. And so we grabbed some equipment and we just went upstairs, and I could not believe what we were getting. We had the GS2, because we were looking on the stage, looking out towards the audience. We were on the right hand side, so if you're looking at the stage, you're stage left. So here we are, we're just sitting there, and we started to, because we were sitting together. Next thing you know, I'm feeling cold on my right side,
And then I start to feel cold on my
you're
left
feeling
side.
it cold on your left side.
And we were standing next to each other to where our right and left sides were next to each other.
And I don't know what it was, but I kind of felt that, every single time I felt like somebody was watching us behind us.
Very much that. It really was. Yeah. And you and I aren't one big for like over sensationalizing things like that. But honestly, like we both kind of were like looking over our back shoulder going, you feel like someone is standing there staring at you.
Oh, yeah. I felt like almost like, a member of the stage crew, be a director, stagehand, a grip, something like that. They were just looking at us from behind, but we obviously we couldn't see them, but that's what it felt like,
Yeah, it was amazing.
And then, and just, here we are, we looked like we caught something, but I don't think we had it on video, but it looked like we had something on stage, way over the other side of the stage. Looked like it went right across the stage. I mean, it was very, very brief. Like a white mist, it just came right across. And obviously we started to also have maybe like a reaction. We started playing orchestral selections through my my Bose speaker, my portable speaker. And that
was the first time we did music in theater.
Actual theater.
Yeah, yes. And that was the thing. That was the thing that really got us, because so we had a tripwire, polished tripwire on the stage, and it was just constantly purple, reacted to absolutely nothing. We are very good with our tech. We make sure we're not adding additional things to it, right? Like, we keep our phones on airplane mode. We make sure, like, when we do things and if things start reacting, then we're like, okay, it's because we're playing music, because we're doing this. It was very interesting because we played different musicals or different operas, and our tech would react to it to the point where I remember her tripwire started to go off to the beat of
the musical selection, and we were
really
totally
excited.
blown away by that.
And then it would just stop and do nothing if we switched to a different musical. And then it was really interesting because there was at one point through one of our devices that was saying something, and we played a particular act of Carmen, and it said, "Oh, play Act 3." And so we look, and there is no Act 3.
Four.
Act 4, and it's like
Act
there is
four,
no
but
Act
there's
4.
there's only 1, 2, and 3, and so
And, and we're like, "Are you playing with us?" And then it was like, joke.
Yeah,
like it was just really kind of, I don't know. It was just one of really an amazing, like, whirlwind evening of random things happening that we're what is going on?
And I think it was right at that point that we decided that if we were going to be doing another theater again, we would start to incorporate that, because in some cases that could be a trigger device.
Yes.
To getting some sort of activity.
Absolutely. All right. So Hyle's got a pretty strong showing in top 5 already with your 5 and 4 spot. What's the number 3 spot?
Okay, number 3, I'm gonna have to say the Savannah Theater in Savannah, Georgia.
Framed by moss-draped oaks in Chippewa Square, the Savannah Theater has been raising curtains since December 4th, 1818, making it one of America's oldest continually operating playhouses. British architect William Jay's original Regency gem has weathered hurricanes, 2 catastrophic fires, one in 1906 and the Inferno of 1948, and a mid-century Art Deco facelift that swapped gilt columns for neon marquee flair before reopening as a movie house in 1950. But the Savannah Theater's cast list isn't limited to the living. Actors whisper about Betty, a 19th century performer in a long white dress who materializes in the wings on opening nights. Technicians feel a child's tongue on their shirts high in the balcony and blame Ben, the prankster boy spirit said to have perished in one of those historic blazes. And late-night rehearsals are punctuated by a disembodied baritone, the director still offering critiques from a favorite seat even after death. So why is Savannah Theater so high on our list of paranormal locations? Let's go back to our conversation and see.
I know we've done it once, but it would just hit us so hard that, well, at first, here we are, we show up with all our equipment, and everyone else shows up with, just using the equipment at the
Ghost Coast provided,
the theater. And I just thought it was so funny, because here's the guys like, okay, you're beginners. Oh, you're experienced. I just thought that was real funny. We were just, it was a public, there's about maybe, what would you think? Besides us, another 8 people.
Yeah, maybe. I think there's probably like 10 total.
Yeah. And so we wanted to see some of the areas, what we were feeling of the theater. And I think it was right towards maybe an hour before we were to leave, we went ahead and let's pull out my portable speaker and let's start playing some musical selections. And at the time we were playing it, Jennifer kept telling me, Mike, it's too loud. There's people backstage doing like an EVP session.
We heard people
talking backstage. I'm like, but Jennifer, no, they're not going to hear it, because they're constantly they're talking louder than us. And so pardon me, I said, screw it, I'm going to leave it at this level, and we're going to play it, and then we're trying to get a reaction. And I turned it off, and we were listening, and we really didn't hear anything, but we kept hearing voices backstage, like behind the curtain, and it was very muffled, but you could definitely tell there were people talking backstage. Yeah. We did, I think, maybe like a minute selection, listened, and we just, wow, those people were really talking back there. And I think it was right around, I think either quarter or 10 to 2 in the morning. We got to go, because we don't want to be those people.
Our time was up.
And so here we are, we're walking up, and the host was He's like, oh, we didn't want to say anything, but there's people still backstage. And he's like, no, they're not. There's no one. You're the last two
You're
people
the
here.
last two people. Everyone else left
like,
an
no,
hour ago.
no. We were dead serious.
We
You
think
got to
you
go.
forgot
There's
people.
people backstage right now. They're talking right now. And he's like, no, you are the last two people here.
He was like, we've been watching you on video. He's like, you are the final two people. Everyone else left an hour ago.
And I was totally flabbergasted. I was like,
are you sure? He's like, positive.
Yes.
He's like, positive. Did a walkthrough myself. You are the
last
final two people here. So. All right. So far, theaters are in top 5.
3 theaters. Emory, the Baum, and Savannah Theater.
All right. So what's the number 2?
Number 2, you know it, Jennifer, Ohio State Reformatory.
Rising out of the cornfields of Mansfield like a stone-walled castle, the Ohio State Reformatory was built between 1886 and 1910 in a striking mix of Victorian Gothic, Romanesque, and Queen Anne styles. It opened to its first 150 inmates on September 15, 1896, promised moral rebirth through hard work and prayer, but the dream curdled. By the time the federal court forced the prison to close in 1990, overcrowding and brutality had made headlines, and Hollywood had borrowed the site for The Shawshank Redemption in 1994. More than 200 recorded deaths, a superintendent felled by a heart attack, and the tragic 1950 shooting of his wife inside the warden's quarters left heavy psychic baggage. Visitors now report a shadow man pacing the world's largest freestanding steel cell block, disembodied footsteps hammering the solitary wing, and the sudden scent of roses where Helen Gladkey once lived. Phenomena that have often earned OSR a reputation as one of America's most active haunts. So what have we experienced that secured OSR in our number 2 spot of our top 5 haunted locations? Let's check back in and see.
And we went there the very first time, and we thought, it's not that bad. You walk inside, and Jennifer and I were walking around, and we were like, okay, we got to go over here. No, let's go over here. Okay, well, let's go over here. And it got to a point where right around 10 o'clock at night.
Yes, our break. We took a break.
Break at 10 o'clock, and we got to stop because we got to come back. Because this is insane. Because we kept going to places and we weren't really investigating because we were just so in awe of how big it was.
And it's funny, at 10 o'clock, you're like, we have to come back. I'm like, yes, absolutely, we have to. And then I didn't realize, but it was because you thought it was done at like a shorter time. You're like, we're not going to be able to get to this entire building in the time we have. And it's like it goes to 3 a.m. So we actually had like a whole additional hour we had, and it had started an hour earlier than what we're normally used to at the places we usually investigate. So it was definitely, we had like a lot longer to be there, but regardless, we're like, oh, no matter what, we're coming back. And that was the first time we were there, and we came back. First time. I think we've been there 5 times now, if not more.
Five times. The very first time we were setting up that experiment, and I wanted to get something else in the car, and we were in the West Wing, bottom floor, and you were setting up an experiment. And as I was coming up, we could hear clearly on the recorder, "Hey, Jennifer. Hey, Jennifer."
And it's funny because I was all alone, and the recorder was behind me against the wall on a bench.
Yes.
And Michael hadn't even come into the cell block yet. He was still on his way there. And we have an infrared recorder showing the entire cell block, and there isn't one other person with me. And if someone had said it audibly, I would have heard it.
Yes.
Because they would have had to have been behind me. No one was there. And Michael, and about, I don't know, like 30 seconds or 40 seconds after it's on the recorder, you hear me go, "Oh, is that Mike?" Because I see his flashlight shining at the end of the hallway because he's turning the corner.
My instant sun flashlight.
Flashlight. And then I say like, "Hey, Michael," or something. And then you hear him talk. I'm like, "You just missed it. The music box has been going off the whole time you were gone." And you hear him go, "Huh, what?" Like he wasn't even in the room present when that happened.
Yeah.
And we didn't know it happened until afterwards when I was reviewing, and it was my cell phone. I had my cell phone recording audio, and it was on my cell phone.
Yeah. Let's see, another experience. Oh, we were in the chair room and we were doing an EVP. We were doing what was it? I think, I can't remember if it was a Q&A or if it was just a quiet session that the lovely Jenny Hand introduced us to.
Yes.
And I have to give a shout out to Jenny. She was very, very wonderful with the experiences we had. But Jenny introduced us to silent sessions, and so we tried that at the chair room, and we were doing 10 minutes and then listening back. And there was several instances where I was getting voices of children.
That's right.
On the EVP, and I couldn't believe that people were that we were getting those voices, and I thought that just kind of blew me away. Another one was, here we are, we're walking, guys, we are walking along in the cell block, west cell block. We're just walking along. Next thing you know, are you smelling roses?
Oh, we were on our way to the administrative building.
Yes.
And we had a group of like 5 people with us walking.
And there were 4 of you, and I was maybe 10 seconds behind.
I was first, and it hit me, and I was like, oh my gosh, it just smelled like straight up roses.
Yes.
And then everyone else was like, we don't smell it. Then the next person walks through the area, they're like, oh, roses. Every person, once they hit that exact spot, entering into the building, hit it, and you're like, I don't know what you guys are talking about.
I don't know, why are you guys smelling roses? And then next thing you know, I smelled maybe a very, very, very faint hint of a roses.
Like rose
smell.
perfume.
Yeah. Yes, rose perfume smell.
Straight up rose perfume.
Yes.
And we were all like, that is crazy.
The history of the rose smell was from the warden's wife. She would wear
rose perfume. And we've never had a scent experience before.
Never.
Right?
Never.
I think one of the times we were on a back stairwell and we smelled a little bit of tobacco, but people smoke outside and that easily comes in the building.
Yes,
so anytime we smell a tobacco smell, we kind of always go, okay, is someone outside smoking? There's a lot of smokers there.
Yeah.
So that isn't one that we really validate.
Nah.
But the rose smell being so
because at the time, Jennifer, here we are, we're in the middle of metal.
Yeah.
All you look around, jail cell, metal, jail cell, cement. There's absolutely nowhere, anywhere that we were at that could have had a rose fragrant smell. And
there was no need for it. You know
what
I mean?
Absolutely
it wasn't an air freshener. We weren't near any restrooms. It wasn't something like that. So it was definitely, gosh, I had actually forgotten about that, Mike.
Yeah. Let's see, what other experiences we had when you and Alex were in that hallway just off of the cheer room, and you saw that person looking at you.
So where we were is right outside the chair room. There's the hallway, and Alex and I were sitting in that while everyone else was around the corner in a room that has some closets in it that I like to go hide in. And so they were doing a session, right, with Paula? Yes. An Estes session, and they're asking questions, and she was saying things back, and it was funny because everything she was saying, all of a sudden she starts talking about, are you just peeking at us? Are you looking at us? Are you being sneaky?
Yeah, I thought that was kind of weird.
Alex and I were looking towards the chair room, and right as she started saying that, we both saw a figure peek around the corner and kind of start staring us down, trying to look from afar but not be seen.
Yeah.
And we're both like, did you just see that? And we're like, to each other.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh my gosh, we're totally seeing the same thing.
Yeah.
And it was just really fascinating because as we're listening to what Paula is saying, it's lining up with what's happening in the hallway with us.
Yeah.
And we're like, this is crazy.
Because I think at the time, Paula, and it was really weird. Any woman that went into that closet in that room
had an experience.
Felt like they were there was a very, very heavy mass. Felt like it was on them, almost like pushing them down. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went in there. And as this is going on, this is what you and Alex were experiencing outside. I was in the closet with Paula trying to figure out, hey, are you feeling it? Are you guys feeling anything? No, not right now. because you're here.
You're the chiller. It didn't react to men vibes well.
Exactly.
Not aggressive. It literally just said, "You're not worth my time."
Exactly.
And
That's
and
it.
stopped when specifically you were around.
Yeah.
It was that was very interesting. Whole thing was very interesting. And to add to the interestingness of it all, we were there 2 days the same week in privates. We were there a Thursday and a Saturday.
Yeah.
And on Thursday night, Paul and I were standing in that exact hallway.
Yep.
And we were talking, and all of a sudden she kind of gasps and she's looking into the chair room where no one was at. And she's like, "There's a very tall, dark figure standing in the hallway." Very tall.
Oh, yeah.
Standing in the just staring us down right now. And I'm like, okay, interesting. Literally 2 days later, I'm there with Alex in the exact same spot in the hallway because there's the plaque on the wall. And we're talking, and all of a sudden he gasps and goes, "There's a very tall shadow figure standing in the hall, in the doorway of the chair room, just looking at us right now. And it's not happy we're here." And I was like, this is crazy because literally 2 days in the exact same spot. I was with someone else and they saw the exact same.
Oh, I remember that.
And both, for just comment, both Paula and Alex have some sort of, like, we'll say, ability, if you will. Right. They're sensitives or intuitives. So they both were picking up the exact same thing independently of one another. Alex had no idea that Paula and I had that exact same conversation just 2 days beforehand. It was very interesting that, being able to repeat our experiences there with different people has been really exciting too, to kind of see if people pick up on the same things we have over time, and sort of like gathering more data on the places we're going, and kind of getting that experience. Another strong showing for Ohio. Well, your top 5, 3 of them are in Ohio.
Yeah, I know.
But I have a feeling number one spot is not in Ohio.
No.
I have a feeling it might be in Michigan, where we're from.
Oh, Jennifer.
What's your number one?
Jennifer,
number one
my
place,
number
Michael?
one, has to be, the Eloise Asylum.
Once a 902-acre city within a city outside of Detroit, Eloise Asylum began life in 1839 as the Wayne County Poorhouse, and ultimately sprawled to 78 buildings that sheltered and experimented on more than 10,000 patients at its 1930s peak, complete with its own police, fire, trolley line, farm, and power plant. Those same wards now sit gutted and graffiti-scarred, yet visitors swear there's anything but empty. A woman in white glides along upper stairwells, shadow figures slip between peeling doorways, and nighttime investigators capture screams and moans echoing through the tunnel system and over the pauper's graveyard out back. The sheer scale of human suffering, layered medical history, and relentless modern-day activity is precisely why Eloise Asylum sees the number one position on our Para Is My Normal top 5 haunted locations. Proof that some places never stop writing their own case files. Let's tune back into our conversation to hear our experiences.
My goodness.
Eloise, she's
not only have we been there so many times, but it
literally over 100. We worked there, we lived there.
We've developed our craft going to Eloise, and then anything that we felt that didn't work or worked, we would use it at other places. I just could not believe the experiences we got at Eloise. The very first day, on the 3rd floor, we had that nurse come out of the operating room.
Yeah. Our very first time ever there. And to set the scene, it was literally in the middle of the worst electrical storm. That building was so charged. Your hair was on end the whole time you were in the building, like you were just walking through static electricity.
Yes.
It was charged. And I wonder if and I've never been in the building with a feeling that ever since, honestly,
no, never.
In the 3 years. So to be clear, we both saw a full-bodied apparition.
Very first night.
And we didn't tell each other about it for about 10 minutes because neither of us believed what we just saw.
Because we had thought that somebody had come up from the stairs, which is just the very next door up from the operating room. And so we're looking at, and we see this bright figure come out and go right back in.
But it was interesting to both of us, which we didn't mention at the time. They were wearing full gray head to tail. Like they were just gray, and it didn't really dawn on us at the time, but it looked like they were wearing a sweater and a hat, and just like, keep in mind, this was July. It was very hot, and it looked like this person was full on clothes.
And what made it so amazing was that, remember back in the day, this is how, when we were talking with Mom about this, back
Mike's
in the
mom.
day, well, they remember how when nurses would dress back in the day, if they had the
like a little cape, like
a cape that would button up just below their neck,
so they have that little boat,
and then they had the on top of their head that was bobby pinned in, and that's what we saw come out and then go back in.
But at the time, we didn't realize it, because both of us, it looked like someone that was wearing a hat that had like a sweater tied around their neck, like preppy-ish. Like they had walked out, didn't see what they were looking for, and walked back in the stairs. And after about 10 minutes, someone else just came up the stairs, and we're like, oh, wait a minute, this is different, because that's a person coming out of the stairs. And they came and they looked at us and they went back in the stairs. And I look at each other and we're like, hey, that first person we saw wasn't a person, was it? We're like, it wasn't. And what did we do? We got up and we walked over to the medical bay to see, and there was a full-on desk covering the door. That person could not have come out of the medical bay, which is actually where we saw them come from. It wasn't the stairs.
Yes.
Because in between the stair entrance and the medical bay entrance, there is actually a fire hydrant on the wall. A fire extinguisher fire extinguisher on the wall. And the first figure we saw was behind the extinguisher, and then the person coming out of the staircase later was in front of the extinguisher. And we're like, wait a minute, that's impossible what we just saw. And on our way out, Mike looked at one of the pictures they have, and he's like, that's exactly what we saw. And he pointed, and it was a class of nurses.
Yes.
And he's like, that's exactly what we saw. It was actually a nurse.
That's it.
And we were like, oh my gosh, that is exactly what we saw. And it was just like, but to the point where we both experienced it. We both didn't realize we had experienced it until later.
Yes.
And then we were kind of like, hey, I'm kind of like, don't get weirded out that I'm going to say this. Don't think I'm crazy. Like, we both were very apprehensive to tell the other person what we just realized we saw, but we had seen the exact same thing. Right. Typically, I'd be extremely skeptical of this, but the fact that both of us independently witnessed the exact same thing. Afterwards, when we were describing to each other what we saw the exact same thing. Yeah. And it was mind-blowing.
Yeah. And then also that same night, you got touched.
I got grabbed up on the 5th floor, leaving the hydrotherapy tub.
Room.
We were walking out, and it felt like someone grabbed the back of my arm and pulled me back a little.
Yep.
Like, hey, miss, like trying to get my attention. And you heard, because I was walking behind you, and I just turned, and I'm like, yes, because I fully was expecting to see someone standing there, like I had left behind something, like they were trying to get my attention. And Mike is actually, what's going on? And he turns around with me, and I'm like, okay, this is really weird. I was full on just grabbed and grabbed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, very interesting.
And then another one was where we were on the 4th floor operating room, and I was doing
different day.
This was a different time. We were doing a reenactment of me having a appendicitis attack.
Yes.
And I'm laying, and at the time they had a table in that operating room, and we were just doing, hey, doctor, I'm feeling really, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that. And Jennifer had the full spectrum camera on, and as she moved it, you can clearly see something comes out of me.
A whole red mist straight out of him.
And it's right there on our video. It clearly goes right across the screen. And then another time where we were at a public, we had another reenactment we were doing in that same exact operating room. We were getting, just doing a quick Q&A session. And the other 2 people that were in there were 2 nurses also with me in the operating room. And we were just a reenactment. Hey, doctor, just posing questions. Hey, doctor, we got a patient here. What do you think we should do? Should we call an ambulance and take him over to Wayne County General? And eventually, doctor, this person is really going down fast. Should we take him to the hospital? That just blew my mind, because it was, wow, okay. Intelligent response of a doctor in my recorder. Oh yeah, this one really scared me. over in the doctor's area in the 4th floor. It was you and another girl, Tasha. That's it. You were doing that EVP session in there, and just for whatever, I just had my camera, not even the camera, just down the hallway, thinking someone would be on there, and I just happened to notice to look over into the room. Oh yeah, and there's a head looking at me, a black head looking at me. And I knew because it came over and then went right back in, but it was so because like as his head went over, a car on Michigan Avenue went right by, and I could see the light of the car behind him.
And what's funny is when that was happening in the EVP session, I was saying, "Hey, if you want us to leave, show yourself, and we'll leave right now." And right then,
that's right.
showed itself, and I didn't know because I was in a different part of the wing with Tasha, and then she was kind of in between us, and all of a sudden everything went quiet. I'm like, "I'm done," and she's like, "Why did you just say you're done?" And I'm like, "Because everything just changed, and it just went really quiet."
Yes.
And she's like, "Funny," because at that same time, Mike just goes, "I'm done."
Yeah, I'm done.
Because he just saw a shadow figure peek its head out right after you said, "Show yourself and we'll leave."
Oh yeah.
I'm like, "Well, guess what? We're leaving."
But I have to tell you what, Jennifer, that Eloise is very special to us because we developed our craft. We would, obviously we watch on YouTube, everybody that does ghost investigations or paranormal investigations, should say.
Mm-hmm.
And we would try what they were doing at Eloise to see if that would work with us. And sometimes it did, sometimes it didn't. A lot of times we would develop our own, and we decided, okay, well, this is going to be, I think we should try this from now on. And we would get some really good responses on that.
We really honed in our investigative style there.
Yes, absolutely. So are we getting close?
Yeah. And I will just share, there's one thing you didn't mention about Eloise. I mean, honestly, we could have an entire episode about Eloise, which I think we will, because in July, Mike and I booked out all of Eloise just for the two of us.
Oh my goodness.
So we're returning to Eloise. Now that we moved to Ohio, we're not able to visit her. So we said we have to get back up there.
Yes.
So we're definitely going to do an Eloise episode recapping our experience going back, and we'll have more to share. But I do want to end with a final comment about Eloise. And that is one of the experiences that I honestly have no explanation for. It's never happened to us before. And it was the weirdest thing. We were up on the 3rd floor. We were with a whole group of people. And Mike and I are standing in the TV room area in the middle. And all of a sudden we hear what sounds like a big metal bed.
Oh my goodness.
From the floor above us, just like, I mean, we can hear the paint chips vibrate from the ceiling. And we're just staring up like, I'm full expecting something to like fall through the ceiling.
Yeah,
it's cement, by the way.
Yeah, you know how like if you have
like moving a bed frame or moving something really
like there's something very heavy in your garage, and you're moving it across like pieces of like old metal in your garage, and you're moving them across, and you're so heavy, but you might as well like just move it with your feet, and you hear that, and we were hearing that. No one thought 2 times about it. Here we are, we're going, what in the hell? And I can always remember this because we at the time we were just about to go to a different floor. I run up the stairs to the next floor.
It was Tracy. Tracy was on that floor.
Yeah, the lovely Tracy. And we go at Tracy, did you hear anything? And she's like, no.
Well, like, did you guys move anything? No.
Anything heavy, like metal on concrete, anything? And she's like, no.
There's really nothing up there
Nothing
to move.
Up here.
So we're like, that is absolutely crazy.
Yes.
And that the fact that absolutely no one heard it but us, but both Michael and I heard it.
Yes.
And I was like, how are you not hearing this? And everyone's like, we don't know what you're talking about. And it wasn't like just a faint sound. It was loud, and it shook. And I'm like, are the paint chips falling from the ceiling? Because it wasn't an animal. Right.
But I think, wasn't it right there? That's where the dental chair is.
Yep. That's where the dental chair.
It was just you and I in that room, but we were like maybe 10 feet on either side of it.
Yeah.
You were against one wall, I was against the other. And we're both looking up going, what the hell is that? What are they doing up there?
And in fact, we were doing like an Estes, right? I was sitting in the dental chair after that, and I had the headphones on, and then it happened again. I'm like, okay, what is going on? And the fact that no one heard it.
Twice about it, I know.
And I'm like, we're not crazy. We're not crazy. But that was probably one of the most unexplainable things we had happened there among all the many other.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah,
that's why we can't wait to get back there. Oh yeah, because we always felt that even though we may get like on a recorder, it was money well spent.
Whistles. I mean, it just goes on and on, honestly.
I mean, here we are sitting on the second floor. Get out of here.
I had a group up on the third floor, and they put some cat balls on a chair, and literally, whoop, just got thrown off the chair, just like feet off the chair thrown. It's outstanding some of the things that have happened there. So definitely we've seen quite a few places. We have a lot more to go. I mean, we didn't even get to like Landless Mohican. We didn't even talk about
that's our 6 through 10.
6 through 10.
6 through 10.
Right. So we definitely have had some amazing experiences, have met some amazing people.
Oh, amazing people. And I think that's what we should do. That our next one should be 6 through 10.
6 through 10. We've got a lot coming up, so we'll definitely be sharing more.
We'll be doing
of our
a lot
experiences.
This is our first time trying a podcast, and so I thought it was going really well, Jennifer. Don't you think?
I really like. I know you work quite a bit when I'm home, so we're not often able to record together. So it's nice just to be able to sit down and have our little couch side chats with our dog Stella and Mr. Squishface over here, who you got to hear bark and move around. So these sessions are going to be a little bit noisier, but I think they're important because they're who we are.
Yeah.
It's a little glimpse into our life.
Yeah.
Well, that's all for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed our tales. If you went to any of the places we have, please share your experiences below.
Absolutely.
If there's any places you think we need to go, let us know and maybe we'll check them out.
Try to check them out.
So until next time, stay curious, stay respectful, stay investigating.